that a little bit. A lot of headroom. Yeah, let's lower this too. Hold on. We're dialing it in. We're dialing it in. All right. Good stuff. Well, the same applies to yesterday, which is there isn't really a lot of new news, right? Not a lot of new news. Should I move this up here so we can see it? This whole thing is rickety AF, and I'm wondering why is it rickety? This tightens it, so why is it not tight? Now it's tight. This is fine. Well, this is a little too. All right. I think it's loose because I like to frick with it. Now it's too tight. Yeah. See what I did? Oh, good lord, I'm a mess. What is going on with my righty tighty, lefty loosey? Righty tighty, lefty. Right. Okay. Oh, good lord. All right. Well, it's, I'll fix it later. Um, is it possible that my hands are weak? Heavens to Betsy. So let's get into it. Mm, where is my? Here it is. What a day it was today. It was so nice. I think I'm about a week to 10 days away from saying spring has sprung. Because we've had a couple of really cold days, but most of it's been trending warm. And the last really, really cold day was like 4 days ago. But the weather on the front looks to be 60 and better. And then what's going to happen? Oh, should I do this? It should be 60 and better. Then what's going to happen is for a whole week. Then what's going to happen is a week after that, if you get the same weather, 60s and better, then it's over. It's over. So this is like the third really nice day we had of nice weather. If we get another week of this, that's my 10-day mark, and another week of this is next week's Wednesday. So, uh, and now, as a young man, when I grew up, you know what the weather was? The weather was 4 days, and then it was a big thing that it became 5 days. Now they're giving you 7 days, and I was like, what? And now you get a 10-day forecast. Before you know it, they'll be telling you what the weather's going to be like for the whole month. Hey, this is the first I'm hearing about this. That's why I was like, uh, it says here, Papa John's faces backlash after American Russia franchise refuses to close 190 stores. I was trying to figure out that sentence. American Russia franchisees. Are they Americans and Russians? Why don't you just say if this title could be three things. It could be the company itself is facing backlash because it won't close its restaurants in Russia. But why would you say American Russia, right? So is it facing backlash because its Russian owners won't close their shops in Russia, right? Even though it's an American company, Russian franchisees own it there. Is that what they're facing backlash? Papa John faces backlash after American Russia franchisee refuses to close 190 stores. The vast majority of Russian people are very clear headed, the franchise operator Christopher Wynn said. And at the end of the day, they appreciate a good pizza. Pizza chain Papa John's is facing heavy criticism on social media after an American franchise operator in Russia refused to close 190 stores, even after the company said it would suspend all corporate operations there following Moscow invasion of the Ukraine. Oh, okay. So this one guy has 190 stores in Russia. So he's got the well. He doesn't really have the power. You can lose your franchise if you are in violation of what the corporate overlord says you're in violation of, right? So that's what it is. I used to love a fitted cap. Now my head is getting big and I can't fit my fitted. I have to buy another fitted. Look at how good and well worn this fitted is. Woo! I love a good baseball cap and a t-shirt. All right, let's get it. Let's have some more tea. What time is it? Wow, I've been up for a minute. All right. The pizza chain Papa John is facing heavy criticism after an American franchise operator in Russia refused to close 190 stores, even after the company said it would suspend all corporate operations there following Moscow's invasion of the Ukraine. The operator, Christopher Wynn, told the New York Times he won't close the pizza shops controlled by his company. So his company owns 190 uh, Papa John's. It's a good way to get rich. Start open franchises, right? Scrape the money together for one, and then cookie cut that bitch, right? And that what they're essentially doing? Not bad. All right. The best thing I can do as an individual is to show compassion for the people, my employees, franchisees, and customers, without judging them because the politicians in power. When a 45-year-old Colorado native told the newspaper, "Hold it, he's an American living in Russia." Is this what this is? The vast majority. He was a native, a 45-year-old Colorado native. The vast majority of Russian people are very clear-headed and understand the dark gravity of the situation they're in, he said. And at the end of the day, they're appreciative of peace when told. Cyber's president and CEO Kevin Johnson announced wait, so he's in Russia. Call them Papa Putins or Putin Johns, one person tweeted. Yeah, man. We're not even going to finish the story. It's stupid. Ugh. See, this is what I mean. Ludacris' latest project celebrating the joy and complexities of black girlhood. First of all, you're a rapper. What are you're a guy. What are you talking about girlhood for? Um, it's just, it's the, it's the, well, we as black people and what we do have always been worth a shit ton of money that we never controlled. Now they're just going to bottle this blackness, right? So I said it before and I'll say it again. Civil rights movement is over. It's been sold out. What's that line from the first Batman with Jack Nicholson? We've been sold out here, boys. When they're right before he becomes the Joker, we've been sold out here, boys. That's exactly what it feels like. Um, Everyone is selling you something, and no one is fixing the problems, which is systemic and endemic in the society. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how you making a rap album about girlhood is going to help that, and label it ladydom, right? All in bed with the same people who do other bad stuff. So if you can have lunch with these people, then you don't really have a problem with these people. These people are the same. How are you not? 9 people were killed in a head-on crash involving the University of Southwest golf team. So these are all kids, well, I'm calling them kids because they're in college, right? So in college, you're no older than undergrad. So you're no older than 21, right? Most college kids are 18. Uh, some are early, right? 17. Some are a little late, 19, right? But generally 18. And by the time you're there 4 years, 19, 20, 21, 22, you're 21, 22. So, but they're so that's really young. And that's nine people in a head on collision. This woman, Nazanin Zagaria Ratcliffe, was held in Iran for 6 years. Her and another guy who they just let go. But these are British people, so they weren't big news on my radar. Where we broadcast to you now from. Look at my hands; they're all ashy. We broadcast to you now from the beautiful state of Virginia, uh, in the wonderful country of America, uh, in the west of the greatest planet in our solar system. Um, yeah, it is what it is, what it is, isn't it? And I say that how an active shooter training ended with trainers shooting a 61-year-old man. We got to read that. Um, yeah, how long is this? Yeah, here's the thing about reading some of these things. Some of them go on forever. This looks like one of them. Some of them, oh my gosh. Uh, all right. So people, everybody got guns. People don't know how to use them. It's disturbing. It really is disturbing. All right. I said that or the earlier thing was about because Brittany Griner is in, you know, a Russian gulag essentially, a Russian prison on smuggling charges, which is bullshit. And mind you, all heads of state have the power to go, all right, let the American go. This is ridiculous. We're not going to prosecute her and cut her loose, right? Uh, but usually you hold on to them because fuck them, right? And it happens randomly. Mm-hmm. I mean, look, I don't know, man. The world's on fire, and the people who set it on fire are routinely in power, and they keep fucking it up or keep resetting it on fire. The firemen are arsonists in this case. Is all I'm saying. Um, yeah. Do we want to pull up a destination? No, we don't want to pull up a destination just yet. We have been streaming for not very long at all. But the policy is 20 minutes, so uh, we'll be here for at least another 10 until I figure out what's going on. Huh. Mike Myers is black, playing 8 characters in a new Netflix comedy, The Pentaverate. What is a penta? A penta is five. Verite is Verate. The Pentaverate. Is that the word? I've never seen this word before. The Pentaverate, or is it the Penta? It's got to be Verite. Okay. What is Verite? Verite is Latin for what? Bonus if you know it. I think Verite is Latin for life, right? Verite, second person plural. What did I say it was? I'm pretty sure whatever I said it wasn't right. All right, let's get it moving. Um, Netflix is bringing back the comedy TV show that made the Ukrainian president famous. See, look, that's a story that doesn't work in America. The Vladimir Zelensky story does not work in America, right? They were behind the curtain forever, from behind the Iron Curtain forever. Protest after protest after protest, disappeared dissident, dead people, mass graves, war, all that horribleness, right? Um, so in that miserable state, he was a comedian who made people having a hard time laugh, and he was a popular comedian, right? So he was good at his gig. He was a popular comedian. Then he gets on a TV show, and we talked about it yesterday. The power of television makes you think you know people on TV. Um, but he gets on this TV show, and essentially says what the people are thinking, which is, why can't anything work? Why can't we finally have democracy after all this time? After right, so everybody feels that way because, like I said, Iron Curtain. Um, and then I guess he struck while the iron's hot. Our version of that is there was a Robin Williams movie based on this story. Um, in his show, it was a teacher who does it and then runs for office and gets elected. And then after the show ended, he hold it. Robin Williams. Robin Williams movie where he becomes president. And he runs for president, and then like the people running against him drug his I want to say his ex-wife, and she begins just to make her look crazy and him, so they can win all this. Man of the Year was the name of the movie, right? So let's look it up. In 2006, Man of the Year, American political satire, directed by Barry Levinson. Is Barry Levinson still alive? Yeah, he is. Good job, Barry Levinson. Produced by and starring Robin Williams, who passed away, Christopher Walken, who's still here with us, Laura Linney, who's still with us, Louis Black, who's still with us, and Jeff Goldblum, who's still with us. In a film portrayed Tom Dobbs, the host of a comedy political talk show, based on a real life person of Jon Stewart, right? So it's based on Jon Stewart, but Jon Stewart didn't run for office, even though he's floating running for office now. Give me a break, we don't need it. Um, but the story is the personality is based on Jon Stewart because you know Jon Stewart, but the story is that of this guy. So that's 2006. Plot, production, cast, release, reception. Uh, Head of State, Chris Rock, it sort of has the same premise, right? That's another one. Head of State with Chris Rock sort of has the same premise about an everyman gets elected to president. And that was based on a 1930s movie. All right, you know what? We're gonna put this on so you guys can see it. All right, so this is the poster for the film Man of the Year. Could this man be our next president? Right. Um, this is the one with Chris Rock. Pat Paulson, comedian who ran for president. Really. Vermin Supreme, comedian and perennial candidate. Oh yeah, this is oh, Vermin Love Supreme. Donald Trump, television personality who became president of the United States. Stephen Colbert, president campaign 2008. Yeah. Um, this is the one with Chris Rock. Let's see what this is. Mays Gilliam is the alderman for the ninth ward. He was already a politician, but he was a low level like bus catcher, becomes president, right? It's easier to become president if you're a governor or a senator. It's harder to if you're a congressman, because the only people in your district really know you. Uh, and it's super extra hard if you're anything under any of those in the state, because no one anywhere knows you, right? If you're a war hero and you come home, you can go, I was in the war and I did this great thing, and it's I once worked at Walmart. Now I'm a war hero. Now I'm running for Congress. Now I'm your congressman. Right? There's weight to that. Uh, every now and then, Nate boy does good catches fire. Right? Run into a house, save a family. Like people love you. Like those guys who jumped on that terrorist on the train and they stabbed that one guy. Right? We should still be looking after those guys. So yeah, Alderman he becomes yeah, I mean, I like the movie. the only the only thing white is the house. It's so bad. Uh-huh. Chris Rock, Bernie Mac had to say, yeah, the late Bernie Mac. What did Bernie Mac die of? Don't be ghoulish. Um, so that's 2006. Now let's look up Zelensky. Zelensky. Is it hold it is it's Vladimir. I'm sure I spelled that wrong. Vladimir Zelensky, president of the Ukraine. Vladimir spelled with Volodymyr. It's Vladimir, but not like anybody's used to it. So it's good to know that the Europeans can fuck up a simple thing too. He's got to be like 5'1". Um, Politician, actor. He's an actor, just like Trump was an actor. They love this one though. Why don't they love Trump? See, I'll tell you, man. This is what TV does for you. TV puts you right next to somebody, almost as if you're in the room with them. There he is singing on stage. Right here it is. Ginormous star, song and dance man. Everybody else is like, I went to college for this. I'm busting my ass. He must be like 5'2", right? Amazing. There you go, sitting with he's like Mike Pence, 30 years in two actors. Look at that. So yeah, Erdogan. Look at these guys. Uh oh. So he wanted to be in the European Union. Now he doesn't want to be in the European Union. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, he was an actor, and now he's not. Entertainment career, blah 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 blah. Since he was 17. Now, actors are. Hey, William, good to see you. Oh, did I miss the verse? Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Good to see you in the chat. So yeah, Zelensky has a weird kind of thing going on here. Um, in 2015, he became the star of this TV show, right? So that's 7 years ago. He was a television actor 7 years ago. Zelensky became the star of a television series, Servant of the People. There's got to be a second one of these. Because I could have sworn it was based Servant of the People. Da, 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 da. Let's see, Servant of the People. For you, San people, disambiguous. Let's see, disambiguous. Ukrainian political party, servant of the people, a Ukrainian political party. They named the political party after his TV show, Ukrainian TV show, Servant of the People movie. Ukrainian based on the TV of the same, Servant of the People Society, Servant of the People inside the New Labor Party. All right, well, I guess not. Um, is a Ukrainian political satire comedy television series created and produced by Vladimir Zelensky, who stars as Vasil Petrovich Goloborsky, a high school history teacher in his 30s who unexpectedly is elected president of Ukraine over a viral video filmed by one of his students showing him making a profane rant against the government corruption in his country. Zelensky was later elected president of the actual. Zelensky was later elected as the actual president of Ukraine in 2019. So, 4 years after his TV show, he's elected president. It took Donald Trump at least 20. When did how, no, how long did The Apprentice run? So he invested a lot of time, right? Oh, and by the way, did you guys see? We're gonna look it up. Oh my God, the corruption. All right, so it looks like CNN. Oh man, here it is, Rolling Stone. All right, so this story in the Rolling Stone is fucking crazy. It's it's crazy. It's just bananas. It's bananas. It's fucking bananas. I was turned on to this story by Breaking Points. It's a web YouTube show, which I don't agree with a lot with them. I think they get it wrong, not a lot, but you know, they have exactly America's blind spot, and it's infuriating to watch sometimes. But they're right enough that I'm like, okay, I'll keep watching. So it's called Cuomo W, Trump L. How CNN's Cuomo W as win, and Trump L as in a loser, like lost, right? Who got the win? Who got the L? Who got the win? Who got the loss? Who got the W? Who got the L? Right? So Cuomo W, Trump L. How CNN's Jeff Zucker and his cronies manipulated the news. Text, email exchanges, and 36 sources, 36 souls, mind you, 36 people, tell the true story behind the downfall of TV's ultimate operator. They were cooking the books with each other. Oh my God, it's so bad. They will interview Trump and then, oh man, it's all the shit that Trump said he thought was going on, all because cats can't stop, diddling ladies at work. I Happy Hump Day, man. Hey, Dr. G, good to see you. Happy Hump Day to you. Did I watch Zelensky's Zoom session? No, no. I was out working today. But I heard he rebuked America and the West for not coming to save his ass. To which I was just kind of like, man, get away from me. I got no time for you. You know what I mean? That kind of nonsense. Look, we're not going to start, and we said it here before, we're not going to start World War III for you. We're not going to shoot down a Russian plane, right? We're not going to do it. Um, and I get it. I get it. You're a small country. Like I said, it's like Brooklyn taking on the United States of America, right? I mean, every policeman, every fireman, every corrections officer who live in that borough now is a soldier, right? Plus all the males over 18. You still face a giant opposition with a government that has all this stuff and all these people and all this training, right? So it's a giant uphill climb. So of course Brooklyn will then say, you know what, Canada, you need to, I don't know what you would do, no fly zone over America, and if they do, you shoot down the Canadians will be like, what? Right? No, that's a bridge too far. We can give you weapons and help you fight off because we think this is ridiculous. Shame on America for trying to invade Brooklyn. In this alternate reality, Brooklyn was its own country. All right, New York. Let's say New York whole, all of New York. Uh, that makes more sense. Right? And now you're taking over all of the hosts, right? Even then, all the men and all the stuff, like you might have a million people because it's a big ass city. Um, but you don't have drones, right? You don't have tanks. You don't have well trained Marines. You don't have all these spies who can come to you as, allies in the daylight and be agents working against you at night. Right? So all this stuff because governments do this daily as they do business shit daily, as they do, government has 1,000 tentacles, as they educate the populace and help bring some into the world and help take some out, all of that goofy, crazy shit that governments do. This story, man, I don't even know what to tell you. Uh, this is why nothing works. You take this story. This is how I look at things. I look at things in giant groupings. So you take this story, you tie it to Varsity Blue. What is going on with my mouth? The Operation Varsity Blue, where people were essentially paying their kids to go into schools. Then you throw in, all this nepotism shit and people buying giant buildings for schools, right? I mean, the power stays on one side of the table always because that side of the table is willing to be corrupt, efficiently so. Like they're gonna go to college first, um, and then they're just gonna open a bank and rob you blind. Versus how the rest of us do it. People are just it's. I mean, people have gotten cynical because, and I've said this before on this show. No one would care if Nancy Pelosi played the stock market and was up if she was doing anything for anybody. Now, since she doesn't do anything and she gets paid all this money, and then on top of that, you know, she doesn't just have her hand in the till. She's up to her elbow trying not to fall in, trying to grab, and shove stuff in her purse. People go, you know what? Screw you. You're not only are you feckless for me, you're greedy and you're arrogant about it. And when I say arrogant, it's the people who do things blatantly in the open, right? So we know that there's some corruption going on here, but we expect you to keep it, under wraps or low key, and when you get caught, we expect you to go to jail. Now it's just kind of like we just write laws that say all the stuff that we do is not criminal. The idea that people take money from foreign governments to run for office in America is fucking ridiculous. Meanwhile, if I took money from a foreign government, I would have to register as a foreign agent. But you can take the money and run for office. Shut up. You don't make any sense. How is Russia a favorite nation when every 5 minutes you're talking about war? How is China a favorite nation when they oppose it at every turn? I don't understand. Cuomo is suing CNN for 125 million. Woo! This is what should happen. This lawsuit should go. All that stuff should be made public, read into the public record, and then they should all be arrested. There's a certain amount of fraud going on here. There's a certain amount of criminal malfeasance on their part to their viewer. They were essentially a cartel lying on the federal airways to the American people for their own benefit. How many stories did they keep off the news to protect people? Yeah, somebody should really look into them. So now Chris Cuomo is suing for 125 million. Whew. I mean, look, this should derail them. We're not going to read the whole thing, but let's read some of this, because I'm telling you, you're going to want to pick this up and read it yourself, because then you'll see why I have decided to not be crazy anymore, and follow politics. Oh, and by the way, that whole Kanye West, Pete Davidson shit, where I'm from, that'll get Pete Davidson shot in the fucking alley. shoved in a box, left in a trunk in an airport. Look, man, some of this stuff doesn't make any sense that men do, and they call themselves men for doing it. Right? Just, I mean, yeah, maybe it's the new people. Maybe it's the internet born raised people. But, and then you stoke the fires on the, yeah, yeah. None of that makes any sense. Um, let's get into it. This whole society is all about distraction, and they're distraction. But some stuff you just go, who the fuck does that? Explain yourself, man. Right? Or are you just male? There's some shit that the men can't do. You know why? Because then you'd be fighting all the time, and everyone has a gun, and everyone will be shooting all the time. There's a pro. I mean, look, there's a way that you walk through the world, right? Um, but if you walk through the world stepping on everybody's toes, you're eventually gonna have to deal with everybody. And I mean literally, like stomping on, versus. I mean, how can yeah? I don't know, man. Y'all, you millennials need to fix your shit, and I get it. The example isn't in a lot of environments, but man, you better figure it out. All right, let's get this. Cuomo W, Trump L. How CNN's Jeff Zucker and his cronies manipulated the news. Text email exchanges and 36 sources tell the true story behind the downfall of TV's ultimate operator. On the rainy morning of March 28th, 2020, that was a year ago, uh, coming up on a year ago, 2 years ago rather, President Trump addressed a phalanx of journalists outside the White House following a call with New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. There's a possibility that sometime today we'll do a quarantine, short term 2 weeks of New York, probably New Jersey, and certain parts of Connecticut, he said while clutching his umbrella. This would be an enforceable quarantine. I'd rather not do it, but we may need it. He's talking about doing a 2 week quarantine 2 years ago. Oh man, how time flies. Hours later, Cuomo was asked during his daily press conference about Trump's comments from a medical point of view. I don't know what you'd be accomplishing. He offered with a shrug. Says the guy who we didn't know then was covering up hospital deaths of people who died in nursing homes. Right. So this is. I mean, look, listen. You don't just read anything you're reading, especially in our modern era, not science fiction. Even in science fiction, you don't just watch Return of the Jedi and not know what happened beforehand, right? So this is just shit that I'm pulling out of my head that I remember about 2 years ago, which will further color the picture of what we're dealing with in our politics, if that makes sense, right? So 2 years ago, Donald Trump didn't want to shut anything down. Everybody was like, what did he want to? And everybody was like, what are you crazy? Why are you gonna? I forget how either, but I remember New York was like, other people were like, what, you're gonna shut down America? What are you fucking crazy? Um, and that was kind of the sense. Everybody wasn't like, oh, we got to get way ahead of this and shut everything down and everybody go home. People were like, nah, just wear a mask. Go to cover your face. Put a what those work masks. Those gator scarves on. Just pulling shit out of here, and then people were wiping down strollers and light switches and that lasted for about 3 weeks, about 3 months rather. That was the environment back then. Um, White House calls New York governor, and there's a possibility that sometime today we'll do a quarantine, a short term, 2 weeks. New York, probably New Jersey, certain parts of Connecticut. He said while clutching his umbrella. This would be an enforceable quarantine. I'd rather not do it, but we may need to. That sounds totally like Trump. Totally like Trump. New York, probably New Jersey, maybe Connecticut. You just named 3 states, right? Probably with probablys and maybes. He's so yeah. Hours later, Cuomo was asked during his daily press conference about Trump's comment. Quote, from a medical point of view, I don't know what you'd be accomplishing, he offered with a shrug, like he's a doctor. From a medical point of view. All right. But as sunset approached, the governor appeared on CNN with a much more forceful assessment, predicting that a quarantine will unleash chaos and mayhem in the tri-state area, and honing. And mind you, nobody liked Trump. So if Trump said, you know what, we should take the kids out on a sunny day and skip in the park, everybody would come and tell him what a fucking stupid idea that was. Right? We should wait till it rains so they can get moisture on their skin or some shit. Right? You got me out here freaking defending Trump. And this was my thing then, right? You got to been around the longest lying to me. So yeah, he looks to be an idiot, but you don't just because he's an idiot doesn't make you fucking honest. Right? Two things uh can be can exist at the same time in the same sphere of influence and not be the same thing. Uh, Hours later, Cuomo was asked during his daily press conference about Trump's comments. From a medical point of view, I don't know what you'd be accomplishing, he offered with a shrug. But at sunset, the governor appeared on CNN with a much more forceful assessment, predicting that a quarantine will unleash chaos and mayhem in the tri-state area and homing in on the financial implications of such a move. I think it would paralyze the economy, he said. I think it would shock the economic markets in ways you've never seen before. Right? Fear. Fear, fear, fear. Remember what I'm always telling you? They're always pimping you for your fear. They want you to hate somebody or love something. He's telling you what a doctor. Okay. Mind you, he's a lawyer. He's not an economist. CNN anchor Anna Cabrera teed up a seemingly tailor-made question. What would this mean for the stock market? Would it have to shut down? Oh, it would drop like a stone, Cuomo insists. That would drop this economy in a way that would never recover for months, if not years. Right? So this is what you get. They're in bed with each other, sending him softball questions so he could take shots essentially at the sitting president. They also did this with Vladimir Putin. They see a CBS person browbeat Vladimir Putin about Trump Russia ties, like that he was going to go, yes, your president has been an agent of ours forever. First of all, I thought that was unseemly because I'm like, you're sitting here calling the president of the United States a fucking spy. Why before you fucking just say that shit, maybe you should have some proof. And that's the road we're down. that shit is that shit is just fucked up. Beyond fucked up. I wouldn't say treasonous, but damn close, baby. I mean, you plead with a foreign leader to indict your president so he can be what removed from office. What's that about? Um, because Hillary Clinton would have made a better president. I think. Look, I'm very critical of some of this shit. Because mind you, after the Civil War, a lot of women kept the hatred alive and put up statues and taught it to their sons, and we're still fucking dealing with it. Um, so yeah, when people get out of pocket like that, especially some ladies, you might want to go, I don't know if that's right. And it's not being a mansplainer or a woman hater to say, I don't know if that's a solid move there. You don't have to be sexist about it, but maybe you should at least broach your topic and why you think it might not be a solid move. Like I just did with the president and the woman browbeating Vladimir Putin. CNN anchor Anna Cabrera teed up a seemingly tailor-made question. What would this mean for the stock market? Would it have to shut down? Oh, it would drop like a stone, Cuomo insisted. That would drop this. Well, yeah, obviously, because everything is shutting down. But it is a pandemic, and we did end up shutting down. So you were wrong on this thing. So was Trump, oddly enough. Uh, what viewers did not know is that hours before Cuomo's Albany press conference, hold it. What viewers did not know is that in the hours before Cuomo's Albany press conference and his dinner hour appearance, he corresponded directly with CNN's leadership, firing off a text to the network's top market communication executive, Allison Gullis, who was sleeping with Zucker. Gullis, who had been his own publicist a few years prior, right? So she left Gullis, who is an assistant to Zucker. He had seen CNN, who was fired, uh, was the assistant to Trump, not Trump, to Cuomo. And she helped him dodge all these weird sexual things early, and then it came back again. Remember, the first run was like a brush past him, and then the second time around he sort of copped to some shit, and that was it. But she worked for him as his publicist, and then she ended up working for Zucker, where they ended up in bed together. They both left their spouses for each other, bought houses next to each other, did all this weird shit together. And then they both helped Cuomo before Cuomo. It wasn't just kind of like hard questions. It was, you're my friend, we're on TV lying to the American public. Uh, and people, and he tried to make it seem like, oh, I fell in love with a coworker and I should have told somebody, how dare, and I'm quitting my job today. And everybody was like, why does anybody care? Well, I mean, this is between him and his wife, and how, why does anybody care? He shouldn't have to lose it, and that's not why he lost his job, right? If I am a priest and I get into a fender bender and I show up in church Sunday and I got into a fender bender and I'm embarrassed and thought it was better than this, and I have to figure my life out, and I'm gonna leave church. And y'all like, oh my god, but it's a fender bender, man. And then like that's Sunday, and then like by Tuesday you hear, he was in the car with a prostitute, right? What? Right? Then by Thursday you hear, yeah, she was dead in the back seat with needles in her arm, and he was drunk. Then he ran from the cops, right? So by Saturday or the next Sunday, you have a totally different picture of what happened here. This wasn't just a random fender bender, and he feels bad about it. This is he left out a lot of shit about this fender bender, and that's what he did. Oh, I fell in love, and I and it's at work, and I didn't tell my bosses, and violated the CNN HR protocol, and and yeah, I attended my resignation. This for no, that's not what happened. What happened was you were corresponding with the governor before you did his press conferences, and you were having him attack essentially the president during this election cycle. All the shit that Trump thought somebody had their finger on the. He was not wrong. Um, Top market committee. What viewers did not know in the hours before Cuomo's Albany press conference, we're going to read at least two paragraphs of this. Uh, what viewers did not know in the hours before Cuomo's Albany press conference and his CNN dinner hour appearance, he corresponded directly with CNN's leadership, firing off a text to the network's top marketing and communications executive, Allison Gallus. Marketing and communications for one and a publicist for the other. I guess they're the same job. Allison Gullis, who had also been his own publicist a few years prior. Cuomo wrote in an apparent reference to CNN President Jeff Zucker, ask Jeff to call me, please. Zucker's representative says he has no record of speaking to Cuomo that day. So his representative means his lawyers, because this is all in court now. And you better watch what you fucking say, right? Um, Call me. Zucker representatives say he had no record of speaking to Cuomo that day. You know what the record is? The record is your phone record. Look up his phone. Who you got to call from when you got to call? Unless he's using one of those disappearing apps like the terrorists use. But it should be on your phone log if you sent a call to somebody, and if he didn't call your personal phone, uh, Gallus work phone, so he has her number. Oh man, it's not even good liars. Regardless, Cuomo landed on talking points sure to grab Trump's attention, and Zucker certainly knew exactly which lever to pull when it came to the president, given their long and lucrative relationship via the reality show The Apprentice. Right. So Zucker also greenlit The Apprentice, right? One of the two shows he greenlit when he was at CBS. So he knows Trump well too. He worked with Trump on The Apprentice as he ran NBC, and he greenlit only two shows, one for Trump and Fear Factor with Joe Rogan, oddly enough, right? Um, and then he helped Trump essentially become president. Same kind of shenanigans, good for ratings, kind of like, ooh, our ratings are up, kind of shit. And then now, and here's the thing about Trump. Trump picked all these people, and now they all kisses. He put him in power, and now they're all at his throat, out of office, trying to kill. It's that place is ridiculous. And even I think even if you go there with good intentions, people attach themselves to you like barnacles, and they weigh you down or they undo whatever you're trying to do. I think C. Cuomo should get back to the air somewhere if he can. I miss his voice. Really? I think he's horrible, and I think he's dishonest. I think it's proven that he's dishonest. How can you be a newsman who's dishonest, right? It's like when Brian Williams lied on NBC News. I'm like, how can you stay a newsman? He didn't get fired because Zucker, right? He didn't get fired. He went to MSNBC, where I think he stayed for another 10 years or 15 years, and now he's just resigning. He's like, I want to do something else with my days, my time. So he's leaving MSNBC. Um, but he's a newsman who lied to you. That should undo you. It's like if your priest is a drug addict, that should undo him, right? Uh, all these things that go directly against what you say you're supposed to be. Um, yeah, he's dishonest. So let's knock the first few picture that. Let's try and knock out the first few paragraphs of this. And don't get me wrong. Um, who are these guys? These nighttime hosts, they can be dishonest. They're not journalists, right? The Daily Show guy, the CBS nighttime guy. They can take shots. They can be snotty. They're just uh, a long form version of SNL's Weekend Update, right? They really are. They're just a long form version of that. But the people who are supposed to be your journalists, who will then show up at the serious moment when a plane crashes or a bomb goes off, they can't do this. Because the first thing I think when you show up is you're that fucking guy who lied. You're the liar. You're the drug. Just like Elliot Spitzer, right? You're a lawyer coming down on pimps and drug addicts, and you got a call girl. Yeah, you're undone. No, nobody trusts your opinion on it. And he was a genius. And they tried to bring him back several times on MSNBC, oddly enough. And the public was like, no. They did it like 3 times. And I remember thinking, why are they trying to make this dude happen? Some people undo themselves. They can go away. And stuff like that, like he's my friend. I'll give it a year. We'll bring him back here. We'll bring him out in all these guest spots on. Oh, this is a high. Let's bring it to Hey, let you. And then all of a sudden and you're like, no, no. It's like Hillary Clinton. Why you keep bringing her back? Done. Officially over. Just like her husband. He doesn't even show up anymore. Completely discredited. Former president, when there's a government thing to do, requiring for all the presidents show up, yeah, if it's voting and he'll do a commercial, yeah, but he doesn't show up any place with all this Me Too shit still in the air. A lot of the women in the Democratic Party are like, oh no, absolutely not. They don't feel that way so much about Hillary yet, but yeah, that's why you don't see Bill Clinton anywhere. And then right on the heels of that comes Epstein. So now he's doubly got to be out of motion, out of And then I'm sure when that died down after he died, you forgot about it. Then here comes Ghislaine Maxwell's trial. Oh, now you got to keep your head down again. She's convicted. Whew, all right. You think you can come out again? Oh well, no. Here comes Prince Phillips fucking trial for this girl thing, right? Oh, now you got to duck down again. You got to and then all of a sudden we settled it. It's settled. It's gonna go away. People are gonna forget about the fucking prince. Like I told you that nothing was gonna happen to that prince. Remember I said that? Nothing was gonna happen to Bill Clinton or that prince, even if they were. They're both immune. Some people are above the law. You should really know how this shit works. Right? Nothing is ever gonna happen to Trump. He's a former president. He's not going to jail because the attorney general of New York doesn't like him and voted for Hillary. Right? The only thing you can do is kick him off social media. Now, all the people who worked around him are a different story, right? Um, I don't likely think anything will happen with his kids, really. Um, but like the guy who was his who's the guy who lets people come in and out of the president's office? That guy, his I forgot that guy. That guy looks to be in some trouble for chief. Thank you, chief of staff. Uh, Mark Meadows. He looks like he might be in some voter fraud trouble, right? He can't go. I was once chief of that. No one cares, baby. But president is different. Different. A million people, half the country elected you to do something, right? That's different than being appointed to something where nobody gives a fuck. So yeah, just like you know, Obama could hop in a truck right now and hop a curb and run over a busload of nuns and orphans, and they'll just carry his drunk ass from the scene where he will apologize. And people will be like, how can't and why? And the president before him or the sitting, not before him, he'd be out of office. The sitting president would just go, this is outrageous, but you know, and he'll just be pardoned and be sent off somewhere. Like the extra pope they got in the Vatican. What is he doing? He's probably sitting up in his boxers with his bright red shoes playing Xbox right now. Right? What they're going to do, fire him? Put him back in another church someplace? This is not how any of this works, guys. And when you really fuck up at that level, they just kill you. I mean, they run armies where people kill people all the time, and not always in war. I hate to say it, right? So people who flunk out of the military but who are good at killing end up working for the CIA. Sometimes it's just hard muscle walking behind the secretary to ensure that your ass is properly beat before they charge you with 1,000 federal crimes for walking in his purview. Um, Oh, let's check the chat. Ooh, wow, we got some good stuff from John here. All right. I think Chromo should get back in the air. I think we said that. What he did was horrible, but his style was good. I wish someone would come on with his approach to a show. Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? That laid back, easy feel tunes you in, and that's what they took advantage of, right? And that's why it's so sinister. Why you can't come back. Um, in my opinion. Brian Williams lied about his involvement in the helicopter stuff. Some call it embellishment. Yeah, but let's face it. Look, listen, he can embellish at the party for the girl, right? We all do it, but not at work. It's like embellishing on the stand. It's not allowed, right? So I get it, but I mean, but let's face it, they need to keep their credibility in order. Yeah, he did well at MSNBC though, and didn't. I think, and again, you bring up a good point, right? You did 25 good years or 10 good years or whatever. Should you be allowed one mistake, one moment of bad judgment? No one died, right? I mean, you just told kind of like an untruth versus an outright lie where people got hurt, right? Um, but we're an inconsistent country. Uh, uh, are we gonna forgive Jussie Smollett or whatever the hell his name is, Smollett? Small Smuckers, whatever. And I get that the cops had to get involved with that one, and the right judge and juries, right. So that makes it a little more complicated. But in the court of public opinion, people are like, man, you shifty bullshit artist, right? Why, if that's our sense of the bullshit artist, um, and I'm talking about someone who just got caught lying once. It's not like we know he's got a track record of lying, right? But this is the thing, man. Nobody likes nobody likes to be lied to. Nobody. Okay, I have a very weird like assessment. I think most people have to learn to be dark and bitter about the world. I think you have to learn it. I think your natural disposition is to want to believe shit, right? Because you don't expect to be lied to, and then as a kid you learn people lie, and and as you get older you don't want to always get your feelings hurt from believing, so you end up kind of like, and before you know it, you are a well battle worn living soul who doesn't cry at sad movies and you know all those good things. But I think when you're at your simplest as an adult now, it's generally with little kids, like 2 and 3 year olds who are asking you questions about the world. Most people talking little kids smile their head off, right? It's a nice exchange of of humanity, right? You feel good about like you know what? If you haven't done it recently, go talk to like a 4 year old. They'll ask you 1,000 questions and notice how soon you start smiling, right? There are a million things. They'll want you to do stuff. They'll be bossy to you while you do it. It's a good time. Um, and that's I mean, people get miserable and just get into the like it's like smoking. Every time, as soon as you walk out the house, you got to put on this, and before you know, you're just this gruff exterior person because you're out in the world. I'm not like that. I'm a goofy, smiling idiot, which came in handy. um, yeah, Clintons are over. Hillary still has her supporters, yeah, but I think unrealistic to think she's elected with it. I agree with that 100%. I think it's super unrealistic for anybody to think that Hillary Clinton is a viable candidate, especially after she lost twice. Um, I mean, when I was on Facebook, I can't call myself a Democrat anymore. I'm just so. When I was on Facebook and Chuck Schumer made this deal with Yoda the turtle. What's his name? Um, where they just greenlit all these Republican judges to move it forward so they could handle other business. And I was like, what the fuck did you just do? I was like, you don't just give them all these and now bam, court is stacked because the Democrats were stupid in their. Yeah, I was just kind of like, no, you guys are not serious. And then the Republicans undid Acorn as you know, a voter fraud group or whatever. And but all Acorn did was what? Go into poor neighborhoods and register people to vote, usually Democrat. And Hillary Clinton wasn't even smart enough to keep that alive. And she lost a chunk of votes because a lot of people who would have been, yeah, they just thought man, and I think they looked up one day and all the people that they were used to having vote for them, a good chunk of those people stayed home and they were like, what happened? And people were like, I got other shit to do, bitch. I don't. My whole reason for existing is not to keep your sorry ass in politics. And at the first eve of that, when they lost, who'd they blame? Black voters, black men stayed home. How dare you? Right? They came out for Obama. They didn't come out for. And then the next day they shifted that because all these black people were like, "How you blaming us? You're gonna need these votes, you idiot." And the next day they changed it immediately. But that first night, who got the blame? And I'm one of them. Cause I was on back when I was on Facebook. I was complaining about all this as it happened. How you get all these judges? How you not making sure Acorn exists so they can get the Democrats are gonna bam, right? Done. And Hillary also released that picture of Obama at his the Muslim version of his quinceanera. So there were always scuzzy people smiling in your face. Um, and now they can they're great here. I mean, she even went to Scotland and got booed. That was the last time I was like, really? They wanted to give her some nightly thing in Ireland or some shit, and she got booed there about war crimes and shit. So yeah, I think the it's only the true believers, right? They will love her forever. They'll buy her books. They'll buy her story. But I think everyone else is just kind of over the Clintons and want a new day. Here's the problem: the Clintons have stuck a lot of people in all these places as part of their apparatus. A lot of uh, reporters who always have favorable shit to say about them. A lot of political people who are beholden to the Clintons. You got to watch them. They're going to be around for a long time, being shitty in American politics, right? All these women who can only talk about women and women issues like no one else exists in the country. So why am I voting for you if you don't have anything for the men or the boys, right? You sound like a mean ex-wife. A whole army of mean ex-wives in Congress. I'm like, okay, but not everybody here is your ex-husband. People need shit. It can't just all be for women. Why don't we cure cancer and not just breast cancer? How about that? Um, they thought killing Epstein in prison would make it all go away, though it didn't. Yeah, I mean that goes back to what we were saying that the government had people to kill people. I mean, come on now. That dude got killed in a maximum security federal prison. Who killed him? You know what you should have did? You should have just sat him in there with nine motherfuckers you knew had COVID. You're the government. And once he got slightly sick, you go, oh man, so has COVID. You put him in the hospital infirmary, and then you kill him there. And go, oh yeah, he was in the infirmary and the COVID took a turn. He died of COVID. Now I'll go, COVID, whatever, right? But he'll still be a body in a morgue, and I'll be like, oh well. And they'll say, Sean, you are a crackpot. And I'm like, yeah, maybe you're right. But this way, broken neck in a maximum security federal prison in the middle of Manhattan, the fuck out of here. He killed cameras out. Yeah, cameras out of service. This is what I mean about this country. In the old days, you were full of shit, but you were good at covering up. This is blatantly arrogant bullshit. This tells me that nothing works as smoothly as it should in government. That you can be this sloppy with a government murder that doesn't contain a bullet and a balcony, right? I mean, he's in a maximum security prison. You'd be better to what's that? Remember that movie that Tom Hanks was in where he was a drug smuggler and they killed him at the end of the movie? You'd be better to do it that way. Okay, we're giving you bail. Come back for your court date on June 12th. And then, oh, he got gunned down and so and so. Your Honor, he's a flight risk. I think he should be X. Take his passport. You can. He goes to his home. All of a sudden, up, fell down the stairs. He wasn't answering his phone, and we checked his GPS on his ankle, and it wasn't moving. It hadn't moved in 2 days. So we broke into the house, and he had fallen down the steps. Oh, tragedy, tragedy, tragedy. Can we see the autopsy report? Yeah, sure. We wrote it here. It just says exactly what we say. It's right here. See, it's even in my handwriting. Typed it myself. Oh, can we see any pictures? Oh no, that would just be gross and harmful to the family. You don't need to see any pictures. Meanwhile, the body's got like ligature marks, handprints of the secret agent who choked him out. It's got a black eye and broken ribs. Oh no, it was coronavirus. Okay, but no, killed him in a federal prison. Like oopsie. You know what? If I was the government, I hope someone in government, whoever had this assignment, I'm sure it's making a lot of money. I hope they were like, man, you had it. What the fuck? Oh well, we killed him like you in the fucking the prison. I could smack the both of you if I didn't need you. Well, how were you supposed to kill him in the bed? That had to be what happened. Do I have to tell you how to do this myself? You said you just wanted him dead. Not in the prison, you idiot. Tell me that you disconnected the cameras. Yeah, oh good, at least you did one thing right. It all still looks super suspicious, but at least they didn't catch you on tape. Oh my god, it's goofiness. It doesn't make any sense that this is what passes for like what's supposed to be a smart Western country, right? I mean, Russia was remember like 3 years ago, Russia was sending people into like Paris and England and like uh they jabbed the guy with a needle, and then they had the pictures of those two guys. I might be able to find it. Hold on. Two Russian spies kill. I want to say he was a doctor, and they got their pictures on CCTV. I think it was in Britain. Uh, and the way the government works is every time you're a soldier and you're in uniform, a government takes your picture, and then they put it in their database. That's why some people who are in government you won't ever see, which makes sense, right? Uh, two Russian spies kill dissident in, I want to say, France? Or was it England? It might have been England. Russian agents plan hit from assassin's lair in France. Or was it England? These are the two guys. So these two guys, Russian agents plan hit from assassin's lair in the French Alps, says Intel. So these two guys killed this guy. These two guys are Western intelligence agencies tracked up to 15 members of Russia's military intelligence agency, the GRU, including two who poisoned a defector in London. This is the bullshit, right? But they knew once you leave their country, like so and so's on a plane to go, and they'll see stuff and they can't say anything because they're not supposed to have seen it. So they may see a murder or a rape or killing or a molestation, and they don't say anything. You'll never see the CIA go, hey, we saw this and you can go find the guy here. It just goes into their crypt, which I guess makes sense. But I hope there's some evening out of it on the other end of this thing. So yeah, they killed this guy here. Emergency workers at the scene where a man and a woman were found in 2018 in critical condition. Yeah, they stuck into this place and then they poisoned them. So now if these two guys step into the West anywhere, they're in a prison forever. So they're never leaving Russia or any Russia-held territory. So they may go. They're not even going to Poland, which is part of NATO, because they'll get grabbed in Poland and sent to the Hague, right? Um, tis what it is, baby. Tis the spy game. Yeah, we looked him up. His series, Servant of the People. We looked up Robin Williams' movie, Man of the Year. Man, we covered a lot of ground. Oh wow, we've got 5 minutes to go. Uh, ugh. Do we want to even crack this? I keep interrupting the read of it. Uh, so let's hit some bullet points in the first five paragraphs so we can get the fat meat of the story. No more interruptions. Jeff Zucker asked Jeff to call, please. Zucker representatives say he was no record of speaking to Cuomo that day. Regardless, Cuomo landed on talking points sure to grab Trump's attention, and Zucker certainly knew exactly which levers to pull when it came to the president, given their long and lucrative relationship via the reality show The Apprentice. About 30 minutes before Cuomo appeared on CNN, by remote feed, Gollust emailed the programming staffer, CCing uh, Zucker, that meant carbon copying. This email also went to Zucker and offered the governor as a last minute guest to talk about Trump's proposed quarantine. She then told Zucker that the governor would like to speak to him. When the segment ended, Gullis texted Cuomo, "Well done." What she texted, quotes, "Well done, dot dot dot, Cuomo, uh, dash W, period, Trump dash L, period," which is what the title of this piece is, Cuomo W, Trump L. So they colluded with each other to embarrass the president on CNN air. Completely ridiculous. And I say this all the time. This country has, I could just call them like fiefdoms, right? They're like cartels. You got the banking cartel and the real estate cartel, and every now and then they go to war with each other, right? You had the automobile industry, which had their own, but people are driving less. People don't want to pay this much for, even we look. Shit changes. We used to be a car culture for a lot of the time, right? Um, Especially in the 50s and 60s and 70s. Not so much in the 80s and 90s. But the 50s was a ramp up through the 30s and 40s in car movies and speed, right? Um, Now people don't want to. They want to do something else with their time. I like cars. I'm part of that generation. I'm probably the last part of that generation. Um, but I get why people don't want new cars. All these electric cars. Nobody works on cars. There's no muscle. If I don't work on it, why do I want a muscle car? I just need to go from point A to point B. And now the companies are like, well, you got to do something. You got to help us out. Our business is suffering, so we need tax relief. Look, your business is suffering because you're going out of business. No one kept the blacksmith in business when the horse, uh, essentially, the horse wagon went out of business, right? Some of those dudes became auto mechanics making wheels. But a lot of them went out of business and did something else because time had shifted. Wait till hover cars come around. People who make rubber tires are going to be mad. What are you going to do? But we protect these dying organizations. I'm surprised the toaster industry isn't still running. Although Polaroid was trying to make, what was Polaroid trying to make? They were trying to make PPEs, right? At the beginning of this pandemic, they got $1 billion to make PPEs or some shit. I was just kind of like, this is why this country doesn't work. Exactly, the big dogs killed MF. Yeah, Metals is an embarrassment to the great state of North Carolina. Yeah, and that's the thing. The guard sleeping thing is the capper. So they arrested these two wage slave guards for sleeping. So the camera's out, and these two were sleeping. They should have gave them a drug test, cause I bet you somebody drugged them to make sure they both were out. Cause when I used to do this, work night shifts, bullshit hours, one of us was always awake, just to make sure there was somebody could get a phone call, like yeah, we're all here. I'll get him. Yeah, he just took a piss. I'll be right back. Later on, supervisor on the phone. You want to speak? Yeah, what? No, yeah, we're running through all of it. I used to have to work 4 to 12s, 12 to 8s. Yeah, one person's always awake. Usually or somebody will sleep for 2 hours and somebody take the other 2 hours. Yeah, sad but true. Here's the thing: how long was that camera out? Because if that camera was working, let's stop this. Let's say that camera was working 2 weeks ago, right? You could see their habits. They come in every day. They do the same thing every day. It's documented. People are creatures of habits. Because so and so always brings coffee. Every Tuesday, so and so brings donuts. They begin to pass out at 1 because they're watching TV. Or, oh, they never sleep, right? I mean, and they both obviously lost their jobs, but they were being tried for stealing government time by sleeping on duty. And I was like, what the fuck is that? But that'll teach you, says we federal lawyers. Man, I'm telling you, whew, you gotta watch these lawyers in court. They're just people, and they're people with same kind of issues, but way more power. So they may not like you because you're a woman, or you're fat, or you're tall, or you're short, or you're thin. They may know, like, oh, you're a Phi Zeta Kappa Kappa too. Well, we could file charges, but we won't because or it's not because you're X, Y, or Z. Look, here's the thing. I said this on the show before. Here's the thing about the law. The law is based on, um, oh my god, that just came out of my, like, I don't have to arrest you, right? You have the it's not a must. It's not a must arrest. You have, oh my god, what's the word I'm looking for when you get to use your own judgment. Um, but yeah, you have your own judgment. Uh, Felonies, obviously, misdemeanors, uh, and felonies, you have to arrest people. But that's police. At the law level, you don't have to prosecute every murder. If someone attacked your family member and you jumped out and saved them, and blew their head off with an illegal gun, they could charge you for having an illegal gun. Shame on you. 6 months for each round of the shame on it. Or they could go, we're, we're not gonna, you did the right thing. You saved her, and this gun was illegal. They might ask you why you have it when you got it. When you got it, uh, but depending on the life you lived, never been in trouble, blah blah blah, hardworking man. Bad neighborhood. He shouldn't have had the gun, but we understand why he had the gun. We won't charge him with it, right? Other people will be like, now we're going to charge him with the gun, and we're going to charge him with murder because he and let a jury decide. Fuck him. And that's the energy of courts and these lawyers. Really is. So some people, like the guy in North Carolina, whose family essentially ran the judgeship there forever until he got way out of pocket, and now there's like four bodies associated with him. Um, People turn their back to what you're doing. Keys to the kingdom, and then you people always fuck it up, right? It's like Hollywood uh, casting couch. I never understood it. I guess the casting couch is for people who aren't on TV or singers, right? So the agents, I know somebody. I get, but so maybe that's the thing. But all these super famous guys with 1,000 lady fans, I don't get all the other shit. I just don't get it. And we talked about this too. It's about power. It's not really about sex appeal. But I think if you're normal headed, you've got enough ladies who like you and enjoy your company to do I want to say root through to find a nice match for yourself? Root is a bad word. But to sift is also a bad word when you're talking about people. You know what I mean? Like you have a lot of opportunity to find a nice person in that batch of all these people because you meet so many all the time and you're so well known and people want to be around you versus the regular guy at a bar. Is all I'm saying. And yet you get these people who the ones who don't want anything to do with you. You bother them. It just what? Yeah, people just don't make any fucking sense to me. Um, really? When did that happen? That must have happened while we were on the air. What time is it? Oh my god, it's 8:10. All right. That's right. The clock did go off. All right, hold on. Let's look up this Smollett thing. Um, this Zucker thing. Yeah, this okay. So this Zucker thing, which we've been struggling to get through, is Rolling Stones. Man, you got to read it. So Jeff and Trump are essentially the same person. The ability to self promote and be wildly duplicitous. They are very similar and vindictive, and they're not going to forget anything. Jeff and Trump. So Zucker and Trump. So Zucker is vindictive. So this is what happens once the Matt Lauer heyday. See Matt. Ooh, do we should man Trump L. A representative for the former governor declined to comment. Riza Heller, a spokesman for both Zucker and Gullis, she's because they're an item, said in a statement that Jeff never advised Andrew Cuomo and that the notion that Gullis was laundering advice to the governor was far fetched and patently ridiculous. But there's text messages, um, and patently ridiculous. But two sources familiar with the matter dispute this. To observers both outside and inside CNN, the network's brass interaction with the governor represents the worst kind of journalistic lapse. Brass, everybody knew about it. This is what I was telling you about. Like people used to try and cover up their, like I'm a corrupt cop, I'm taking money on the side, and once you begin to just like wander in and everybody knows you're corrupt and no one does it, it shows that the system is broken. You know what I mean? Everybody knows how corrupt you are. Everybody knows it. It's like, look, if it's the sheer arrogance of it. It's essentially what it is, and arrogance always gets you. Arrogance always gets you. But yeah, they're fired with millions and millions of dollars. So I mean, who the fuck am I to what? You know what I'm saying? Uh, but a representative for but the two sources, familiar with the matter dispute this. To observers both outside and inside CNN, the network's brass interaction with the network's brass, the network's the network's brass interaction with the government represents the worst kind of journalistic lapse. One of the most clear-cut ethical breaches you could think of, says University of Missouri journalist professor Ryan Thomas. News outlets are supposed to expose the wrongdoings of politicians, not serve as their publicists. That's especially true for the network that bills itself as the most trusted name in news. Zucker was ousted from CNN on February 2nd. He was ousted on 2/2/22. Uh, on February 2nd, 2022, citing a previously unreported affair with Gallus. The relationship was unearthed amid an internal investigation into CNN anchor Chris Cuomo, who was fired last December for helping his brother navigate sexual misconduct allegations. But as was revealed days later in a statement by Warner Media CEO Jason Kilar, that probe turned up not only Zucker and Gallus' affair, but also violations of journalistic best practices around the couple's cozy relationship with the governor. The initial suggestion was that these failings were recent. That was the initial suggestion. That, oh well, this is new stuff. Oh, shame on them. This is new. Luckily, this has been going on forever. Um, the per, the initial the initial suggestion was that these failings were recent. Lapses that took place during the extraordinary time of the pandemic. But according to dozens of former colleagues who spoke with Rolling Stone, they marked the culmination of Zucker's 3+ decade spent in a craven pursuit of ratings and power, a career that would foster a toxic culture at two networks, and fan the flames of disinformation. Fan the flames. Good lord, I'm reading too fast for my own good. And fan the flames of disinformation along the way. So at NBC, Zucker put Trump in front of millions of American eyeballs for 14 seasons. This is why people like Trump so much. They watch him for 14 years. For 14 seasons. And mind you, the, the chief of the Ukraine, who was also an actor, who's their president now, it took 14 years for Trump. I just said this earlier in the show. It took this other guy 4. He was an actor 4 years ago in 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 8 years ago. Six years ago. Um, so at NBC, Zucker put Trump in front of millions of American eyeballs for 14 seasons, positioning him as a lovable, irascible titan of business and effectively turning The Apprentice into a shadow campaign for the future leader of the free world. Really? Really? Is that what it was, a shadow campaign? Who wrote this? Who is this woman? Tatiana Siegel. Let's see. I'm with you until that sentence. U.S. filmmaker helps Zelensky stir global outrage with new video that was Kharkiv. Cuomo, CNN probe eyes Jeff Zucker ties for Andrew Cuomo. So I guess she's on this story for a while. Lena Dunham bad guess this movie sold about her too. I guess she's the celebrity person. Pamela answers splitting with her husband of 1 year. Only thing she does is get divorced. Yeah. Oh well. Shouldn't it tell me something about the writer? I guess not. I guess not. What about the person who wrote this? The person who wrote this, none of your business. Okay. Um, Zuck was out from CNN February 2nd. Okay, this is the last one we'll read. Because he was at NBC while all the sexual nonsense was going on, and he's one of the ones who survived it. At NBC, Zucker put Trump in front of many of American eyeballs for 14 seasons. Yeah, I have a trouble with this shadow campaign bullshit. Apprentice, NBC put Trump in front of millions of Americans for 14 seasons, positioning him as a lovable, irascible titan of business and effectively turning The Apprentice into a shadow campaign for the future leader of the free world, which is bullshit. Uh, Fact, I have never seen one episode of The Apprentice. Um, so yeah, I'm one of those people who's like, kind of like, man, enough with the idiot TV television shit. The Apprentice, shadow campaign, my ass. It was a union spawned in 2003 when Trump was a semi-failed businessman looking for an image to overhaul. Semi-failed businessman. The dude owns 50 skyscrapers. What is she talking about? A semi-failed businessman. Okay. Looking for an image overhaul, and Zucker, then president of NBC Entertainment, was apparently eager to acquiesce. To cross promote that show, he installed Trump as a regular guest on To Today Show, where he exalted like a Nobel laureate before, before an audience of America's stay-at-home moms. And of course, wow, is she taking a shot? Who is she taking a shot at with this paragraph? Uh, NBC was apparently eager to acquiesce to cross promote the show. He installed Trump as a regular guest on Today's Show, where he exalted like a Nobel laureate before an audience of American stay at home moms. And of course, Zucker presided over Matt Lauer's heyday when the Today anchor preyed on vulnerable young staffers, seemingly with no fear. That sentence takes a shot at Zucker. It takes equal to the accurate. It says he's weak. It says the Americans that stay at home moms, these moms are obviously stupid because they're listening to Donald Trump. She's taking a shot at several fucking people in this thing. And she manages to take a shot at Matt Lauer. By the time we got to CNN, Zucker was both kingmaker and king. He brought in on their talent like Clarissa Ward and more recently Chris Wallace. Launched landmark docuseries like Anthony Bourdain, which is another person I fucking do not care about, and everybody loved. Parthenon and I've never seen this show. I was like, why is the cookie show on CNN? Um, Look, just because they give it to you to keep you busy does not mean you have to watch it. Oh my gosh. And turned a moribund digital news operation into a scoop machine. He also made 6 million a year. A, almost made. He also made a 6 million a year star of his close friend. Oh, he also made a $6 million a year star of his close friend Chris Cuomo, who has since been accused of sexual misconduct in addition to journalistic missteps. They call it, yeah. Cuomo denies the sexual assault and harassment allegation and maintains that any ethical transgressions were sanctioned by Zucker and Gallist. Now he's a victim. Zucker bucked conflict of interest protocols to have Chris interview his brother. Shame, and we all saw that and was like, "What the fuck is this?" Shamelessly capitalizing on Andrew's rising national profile during the pandemic. All the while, sources say Zucker was confident in his affair with his subordinate Gallus in plain sight, bringing her from one network to the other, promoting her and approving her compensation at every stage of his ascension. She was a key player in Cuomo Gate, providing talking points to the governor for whom she worked briefly between stints with Zucker, briefly between stints with Zucker, and relaying his preferred topics for CNN producers, including on the day in March 2020, including on that day in March 2020. It was all sources. It was all sources say part of a pattern of behavior Zucker had been nurturing for years. Jeff would do anything for a good rating and buzz. Journalistic ethics be damned, says one former NBC comrade. He's like, everybody's talking about it. It's great TV, but great TV doesn't always translate to great journalism. Tom Zucker and Gullis, March 28th communication. Yeah, here's the thing. We're going to stop reading this. This is what your problem is with this whole thing. You put people in charge and they run unfettered, and you let them hide their friends, and before you know it, it's their network till they get fired, right? It's like it's the same thing with politicians. Politicians go, like when someone dies, they go, "That's excuse me." I remember them saying about Robert Kennedy. That's Robert Kennedy's seat. It's not Robert Kennedy's seat. It's the people's seat. The fuck are you talking about, right? And the more they claim stuff and you don't challenge it, they'll just say that it was always there. The Supreme Court has just claimed all this power since its inception, and now they have it. But it's nowhere written that they can do some of the shit that they do. But we all agree that they can. So now they can. All right, boys and girls. It's 8:25. I think that's it for us. Uh, yeah, we gotta read if they let Smollier out of jail. Jesse, just is it Jesse or just sweet? Jesse Smollett. It's Smollier. Um, I should just Jesse Smollett. One J, one U, two S's, two E's, two L's, two T's, one I, one M. All right. Good Lord. That name is too complicated. Will be released from jail pending an appeal of his conviction. He should just do the time. Because by the time the conviction rolls around, you would have served the time already. Can leave county jail during appeal. Court of. My God. This is what happens, man, when you have money to play with. You can play all these ridiculous games. But you obviously did it. What is your argument? That the people that you hired to do it lied about you doing it? This is a shit I don't know. I don't understand. We all know you did it though. That's the thing that I don't understand. We know you did it. I don't understand it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I guess that's it for us. Whew. Another one in the bag. Hump day. Um, hump day is good for you. I think every day is good for you, but uh, hump day is good for you. Oh, is tomorrow? Yesterday was the Ice of March. Is tomorrow St. Patrick's Day? I celebrate no ethnic holidays because no one celebrates mine. Uh, Although I used to get drunk as fuck on St. Patrick's Day. I also used to get drunk as fuck on Cinco de Mayo. If you have a drinking holiday, I'm there for you, brother. When is St. Patrick's Day?
St. Patrick's Day is tomorrow.
It's gonna rain all day tomorrow. No, man, you keep asking me corrupt questions about my police career. I was stellar, stellar. I was a Boy Scout. Yeah, and look what it got me. Nothing. I should be the chief of police. That's where I was headed. It's gonna be chief, and everyone was gonna call me chief, and it was gonna be like that TV show, The Commish, which is one of my favorite cop shows. I used to watch it when I was living in New York. Um, just fun. Uh, Highly recommended. Drinking on duty with a gun, instantly fireable. Uh, yeah. Who wants to be around a drunk with a weapon? It's not the Wild West. Ooh. All right, that's it for me. I am putting this one to bed. I will see you tomorrow. I'm thinking about taking next week off, or augmenting the time I do next week to sort of like ugh, to sort of like free up some of this evening. I don't know. No blue bloods. Yeah, well, your whole family's police officers, which is, the question then becomes, what were your personal dreams that you have to do what everyone else in your family did? Look, my family's big into nursing and teaching and the American military, right? But everybody, when they do join, they all join the army. But not everybody joins. I didn't join, and my brothers joined the Navy, oddly enough. Um, so, it is what it is, what it is, isn't it? We're all different, and we're all trying to crush it, but only so many of us can crush it. Um, and I'm slowly trying to crush it, but I'm not doing well. My herbal tea is cold. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Mm. It's exactly 8:30. We did exactly 22 minutes longer than we should, which is good because I think we started about 22 minutes late. So, you know, it is what it is. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Next one's tomorrow. And I haven't really, like I said, made up my mind about next week, but we may, because I don't want to not be here, but we may augment the time that I am here, and I don't know what that is yet. I'm making an announcement without actually having it fully thought out because that's the kid. I'm winging it like the rest of the world, right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself, William. John, be good. Everyone, uh, hope we'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.